Wait, you dig on multiverses? Welcome to the Sunday Movie Marathon. Welcome to the Sunday Movie Marathon. Welcome to the Sunday Movie Marathon. Welcome to the Sunday Movie Marathon.
Welcome to the Sunday Movie Marathon.
Welcome to the Sunday Movie Marathon. Well, I'm Max.
I'm
Max.
Max.
I'm Max.
Max is having a stroke.
What?
And it's episode 78. It's the multiverse episode, except only you. Not really, because only one movie is the multiverse.
No. If only we did like Doctor Strange and Everything Everywhere.
Sorry. We had to do the Marvels together, so no multiverse episode, just two strands of the multiverse in two different episodes, like a multiverse. Welcome to the multiverse episode.
This is the multiverse podcast.
How are we today?
I was alright until you did that. Now I'm confused. I'm good. Had a productive day, so living life.
Yeah, not bad. It's a nice day, so...
And here we are.
Well, I guess I wouldn't know, as I'm stuck inside, forever and always, thanks to breaking my fucking ankle on Snowden. It's been in all the time, for like 2 weeks now. Can't go anywhere,
You've
can't do anything. You guys had to come and visit me, like I was some old person at a fucking zoo. Wherever
An
you
old
visit the old
person at a
people.
zoo.
Oh, we'll come and drink with you, Max.
The old
You
people.
bring our drinks, we'll bring some cars, we'll have a good time. And it was a good time, though.
Yeah.
Mostly.
But I did feel like an old person. Can't walk.
Yeah, you're like a shut-in.
I went to the cinema last night, and it took every ounce of my capacity to actually get there. As I rode my bike. Fucking hell, man. I could do it, but it's...
bike?
Rode my bike there. I could do it, but it was like... Well, it was either that or walk, or I guess take the bus. But, like, just can't hack walking. I like, stood up in the shower this morning. I was like, I'm going to pass out, actually. It's too long standing up. I can't do it.
Yeah, so it's just not going good for Max.
It's not going good.
Yeah, sounds like
How about you guys? You doing good?
Yeah.
yeah.
Fucking
Yeah,
cunts.
we've got all our limbs intact.
Great.
For now.
I'm really happy to hear that. You don't know what you're missing until, or like what you have until it's gone. You know.
Yeah.
I'm like, man.
It's a
I see
sad
people like
truth.
I'm just sitting inside stewing watching TV, and I'm like, people jump in the shows, and I'm like, I remember when I could jump.
It's one of those simple things that you never do, but
It's
now
quite
you can't
sad.
do it, you're upset.
You ever
It's very
like take
sad.
the staircase 2 steps at a time? Can't do that.
2 steps at a time? I can't even.
Okay.
I'm like...
Maybe I'm not missing much.
Yeah, I said that
But
like
I
yesterday.
could. I used to be able to do that. Can't anymore. But yeah, I went to the cinema and I had a good time. And we watched, I watched a movie that you guys had already seen.
Uh-huh.
And then Chris went to see it again
Yeah, literally just got back from saying it again.
because he hated it so much he needed to form his solider opinions on how fucking bad it was.
Yeah.
It's the new Daniel movie. Everything Everywhere All at Once from this year, directed by Daniels.
Yeah.
That was a fun little thing that they did in the movie, where it ended halfway through and then it said directed by Daniels.
Yeah, I liked that. It's weird because that film Vice, the Adam McKay movie, does the exact same thing. And like in that movie it's so cringy and unfunny. But like it actually works in this one.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, for a couple of seconds I actually thought it was over and I thought, nah.
That was quite short. But you know what? I had a good time. Pretty weird though. Pretty unfulfilling. If they carry it on.
It was strange.
Maybe it's just like what Marvel do, but like it's just a really long post-credit scene.
Of course it was. That's exactly what it was. And they did it much better than Marvel ever could.
Yeah, I mean, we just got done talking about the Doctor Strange one that did the multiverse stuff
Mm-hmm.
in that movie, and they're doing a multiverse type thing here, where it's like, fucking who's the woman, Michelle Yeoh or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
plays a character called Evelyn.
Yeah, she goes through all the multiverse stuff. She's like, ah, shit, I got to do some stuff, and her husband's like, you're part of the multiverse now, Michelle Yeoh. And then he like takes her through all the multiverse stuff. He has to fight like loads of people, and she has to punch Jamie Lee Curtis in the face,
Which was funny.
and all that stuff. It's really great. It's really good. I was surprised that we even like got a showing near us, but I think it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, I don't know how well it's doing, but I know it's getting a decent amount of screenings, at least where we are. I've seen loads of adverts come up of like View and Odeon and stuff, and like you go on the comments and it's like, I'm not travelling 40 miles to go see this movie, show it in more screenings and stuff like that. So I think we're just quite lucky that both of our local cinemas are showing it quite regularly.
Yeah, I love seeing people in America enjoying a movie and going, I'm gonna love seeing that in 6 months.
Yeah, luckily with this one, it was like a month or two we had to wait. It wasn't like loads of time. Like it was like The Lighthouse. I remember that was like almost a year wait.
Yeah, I just heard a bird. Yeah, I thought the film came out here much later. Like, no joke. Like, I saw it on TikTok so many times where people were like, oh, there's this film that's come out. And I thought we'd waited like in 3 months or something. Like, time has no use to me anymore.
Yeah, no, we haven't luckily waited that long for it.
No, well, to be honest, I think it was everyone's on that hype, I think.
Yeah, I think if they waited too long to put it out, then it would not do well at all here.
It's all about timing, and it was very well done. And for good reason, because the film slapped.
It's quite fortuitous to release it like kind of at the same time as the Doctor Strange movie, which is sort of about these. It's not like thematically the same, but like they're using the same like plot thread of the multiverse, and it just makes. I was sat there, I was going, oh man, this makes Doctor Strange look like absolute shit.
Yeah, shat all over it. And I said that in the last episode.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to put that out of my mind. I was like, just look what you could have done with it. They go to like 2 places in that Doctor Strange movie, and this is like they're going everywhere, everything everywhere all at once. It's funny how like how much that title plays into like the themes of the movie. Every time they were like, they kind of call back to the title. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I understand what they're doing with that. I think if I had like a little niggling thing with me was like, they split the movie up into chapters, like part 1, everything, part 1, not part 2, everywhere, and then part 3 all at once. I was like, I don't know if you needed to do that, really.
No, the only thing I didn't like about that was the only time it was like so overwhelming was when the first chapter came up and it was like, wah! And it was really loud, and I was like, what the fuck? And then it never happened again.
Yeah.
No, the second time it's like, so the first time you get that huge like crescendo of sound which plays right at the beginning of the end credits, and the second time it's like the intro of the song that plays directly after that crescendo in the end credits. Then the third time it's just like sound effects and like Foley and stuff.
Yeah, that was horrific that first time. But I think it's because I wasn't prepared for it. Like it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, I
like,
get
shit.
that. It's like the whole film, I feel like in a lot of ways it's kind of like an assault on your senses. Like it's so visually going crazy and it's really loud. But I think it works incredibly well.
I actually don't think the film's that loud. I actually think it's View. View Cinemas, screen 1 needs fixing. Legitimately.
No, I saw it in a different screening. It was still quite loud.
Oh no, oh no. Well, I mean, maybe their screens are just loud. Because you said that one of their adverts was like ear-piercingly loud. So.
I got there right at the beginning of all the like adverts they showed, and most of them were all right. And then there was like this British Gas one, which was like almost deafeningly loud. And the rest of them after that were really loud still, but not quite as loud as that one.
Yeah, I can't hack that kind of thing. I'm just like, shut up.
But this film is throwing a lot at you. It
does.
2 hours and 20 minutes, and it never slows down. I think it's constantly throwing a lot at you. It's tackling loads and loads of different themes. It's really a incredibly ambitious movie. I think it's crazy how it's trying to do so much, and I don't think it ever feels like it's overly bloated or that something's unnecessary or that they don't tackle these things in a like expansive way. There's never a point where I'm like, maybe you could have done this or maybe like delved into this a bit more. I think it just manages to tackle everything perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of using the multiverse as a tool rather than like basing a whole plot around it, because the plot is more about this familial struggle, and like Michelle Yeoh has to understand her daughter a bit more, and like there's like struggles with the family that they have to get past. Like she's going through this thing where maybe she's thinking about divorcing her husband. Things are very fraught within these different relationship dynamics, like different strands, like in the multiverse, and then she's got to kind of learn to understand what she wants from life because she's not doing too great. She's always saying like, "Oh, I'm a mess," and just very relatable in that kind of way, where it's like,
Yeah.
when you're pulled in so many different directions, like it does feel quite overwhelming. And I think that's why it's such an assault on the senses, this movie. 'Cause it's like,
Yeah.
it is about these different struggles that you can get from life and trying to understand what to prioritize. I think a big thing about the movie was this character of her daughter, who was like the villain in the different multiverses. She was like the big villain, has basically lived just forever and ages knowing all about the multiverses, and she's gone like to so many places, and she was kind of done with it, and she didn't know how to kill herself, so she was just like creating this big bagel, which is like a black hole, to like maybe reach some sort of finality. And it was interesting to see her dynamic with Michelle Yeoh, who was very new to it all and trying to figure out her own shit.
Yeah, you got the character of Evelyn as well as that. She's kind of like, they make a point in the film where she is kind of like the worst possible version of herself. Like the technology is that like every single decision you make creates a new strand on your life, and each universe is like jumps off of that strand. And they basically go through all of Evelyn's different strands and find out that the one that she's currently living is like the worst one, where she's like been so close to greatness, but every single time's kind of turned it away. I feel like a lot of the film is like her kind of coming to terms with that and kind of trying to find happiness, despite the fact she's kind of living just an ordinary life. She isn't really anyone spectacular. She's just a woman who works in a laundromat. She doesn't have like this huge grand life, and it's kind of her coming to terms with that and finding happiness in that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I love how they're able to balance all these different genres as well. You do have that dramatic side to the movie, but you also have a lot of comedy, a lot of, sci-fi action stuff. They're able to like combine it all really, really well.
Yeah, a lot of like martial arts stuff in there as well. Obviously, Michelle Yeoh's like got a martial arts background, so she's just kind of like the perfect choice for the character.
Yeah, I think she was the perfect choice. It would have been like a shame. You almost feel like it should have gone to like a younger person, or like if it was like a typical movie, they would have cast like a younger person, like a younger guy.
Well, remember, they wanted to get Jackie Chan on it, didn't they?
Yeah, originally Jackie Chan was who they were writing the film for, and they thought that writing it about a woman would be like add more to the emotional side of it.
I don't think this is Jackie Chan's movie.
He's done these kinds of movies though, like the martial arts movies. I guess he's had his time.
Some could say that so is she. To be fair,
perhaps. But I don't think it's.
I don't know.
I think he's a really interesting character. He's a really interesting role. And I didn't feel like I would connect to it in the way that I did, but it is going for these stronger and deeper themes that make you connect to the characters, and I was tearing up a lot. I was really like, didn't expect it to hit home so much. It was,
it's really emotional.
I think I heard you guys going like, "Oh yeah," Darcy said, "Don't cry, Chris," and then Darcy started crying, and I was like, "Yeah, well, I'm not going to do that." Well, I mean, I don't know. I didn't like really know what to expect from the movie. I hadn't seen any trailers. I think that was the best way to watch it. I just knew that it was about the multiverse and Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah, same.
I think the parts that got me were like a lot more with like the dad character.
Yeah, same.
He's like just this like really humble and nice guy who's just he loves his wife and he loves his just what he's doing, and there's like a lot to do with kindness and being kind. There was a part where I almost started laughing, like, I'm not gonna cry. He was like, everybody was like coming at Evelyn, and he was like, "Why don't you guys just stop? Like, why don't you just be kind?" And he started saying that, like, "I know you're all scared. I know you're all confused. I'm confused. I feel like this is all happening because of me." I was like, "Fuck, shut up! You can't do this to me. Doctor Who did this years ago. You can't get me like this."
Yeah, I was like in tears a lot the first time. Second time I spent like the last half hour, I couldn't stop crying. It hit me so hard the second time.
I only noticed Chris was crying because he has this like certain like breathing pattern that he starts doing when he's crying, and I'm like, and I don't even have to look at him to know that he's crying, and I was like, oh, okay, he's crying. And then he set me off, so I was like, ah, shit. And then you could just hear other people go.
Yeah, it was like that. There was like 4 people in the screening I saw it in today, and it sounded like everyone was crying.
Well, at least you didn't have that fucking guy sitting behind you. Like, you know, that one guy who was like,
Yeah. There's this guy who so often when I go to the cinema, he's just in the screen and he just laughs at everything or quotes random things.
I love that guy.
He's like famous, isn't he? With us?
He was like sat behind us and he kept laughing at everything and quoting random things straight after.
That's awesome. I love that guy. He was in Shrek with me.
It was throwing me off a little bit, but then I kind of tried to get into it, and I
saw
like,
2001: A Space Odyssey with him, and it starts off with like a minute of just black screen and music, and he just shouted, "Where are the monkeys?"
He's right. He is right.
Are there monkeys in there?
Yeah.
You remember that? There's that bit in Everything Everywhere All at Once where they're talking about like the people with the hot dog fingers, and it cuts to like all the apes fighting each other. That's like a direct parody of
And the
opening.
opening grape kills the apes that we should have been.
I love the hot dog fingers personally because it freaks me out a little bit.
They kind of weirdly do a thing with that where it's like they set up this romantic relationship between Michelle Yeoh and Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
But, like, they have hot dog fingers and they have to like learn to navigate their relationship, like use their toes to.
Yeah.
Just...
I think the best part was a raccoon suit. I know this
Raccoon. Fucking what the fuck was that about?
I couldn't stop laughing. Actually, there was one point though where I was crying because they took away the raccoon.
Legit. I was like, what the fuck? This fucking raccoon stand-in for Ratatouille, where in an alternate life Michelle Yeoh is like a great chef, but like her competitor is this guy who has a raccoon on his head and is pulling his hair. And then like they're going through all these different timelines. So sad. It's just like reconciliation between families and all this really emotional beat, and then you see the raccoon in a cage as the guy's like screaming "Raccoon!" No! I was like sobbing. I was like, no.
I was also crying at the fact that there was like I don't know, like this hopeful bit of it where she's like, "We're gonna get the raccoon back," and they're like running after the
It makes you care about this fucking stupid raccoon plot. How did it do that? I was like laughing and crying at the same time.
I'm so glad I wasn't the only one because I was just like, what the fuck am I crying for as a raccoon?
But that's something I think is really surprising about this movie, and it just kind of goes down to just how genius I think it is. It makes you care so much about every little thing that's happening, and they cut to so many like different multiverses and like focus on these really tiny strands in like very briefly, but you like genuinely get really invested in them and really care about them. It's just crazy how invested you get into this story.
Just like one part where like they go into, or not one part, they keep going into this universe where like she's in the caravan with her husband. They're just talking about like, you know, like he doesn't understand why she's leaving, and I was like, fucking all this stuff they have to fit in here, and like they still manage to make you care about the individual strands.
Yeah.
There's a part where like they go and she's actually Michelle Yeoh, sort of. She's like at the screening of Crazy Rich Asians or something. And she's talking about she's talking to her husband, who in this timeline she didn't marry, and they're talking about like how it kind of wouldn't work, or like how he did. He was just like, that was his superpower. Like he was just kind, and he like maybe it would have worked. He would have been fine with just owning a laundromat with her. It was so sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, in another life, I would have loved to have done laundry and taxes with you.
Fucking insane. Yeah. I think such a mad use of like the effects as well. It was like super high budget stuff, and like all the like even like small things where like the screen would kind of crack and it would show like the different universes in tandem, and then the subtitles would come on and it would like warp between the cracks of the screen. You could still it was still legible. It was like, oh fucking, that's cool. So many cool things they're able to do with the effects here.
Yeah, and there's like a clear usage of a lot of practical effects as well, like, which blend into like the like CGI stuff really well. I think there's not a single effect that doesn't look great or effective in the film.
Yeah, the hot dog fingers. Fucking crazy.
Yeah, the raccoon.
I do wonder how they came up with these like universes. I mean, Ratatouille makes sense, but like hot dog fingers. Who went? Do you know what? There needs to be a world
Yeah, fuck it.
where everyone's a hot dog.
It's like, but maybe you should just like start dream journaling. And they all like came in like, I dreamt I had hot
yeah,
dogs for
maybe.
fingers.
Yeah, this film kind of is like an absurd comedy. Like they like intentionally get really weird and crazy. Like there's a whole thing in the film, like as part of the technology, there's like this thing called like, is it like life jumping or something? No, verse jumping, where you can like basically jump into someone else's like path and like take in all their memories and powers and anything they've learned. But to do that, you have to do something incredibly weird that's incredibly unlikely for you to do.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a bit where her husband like eats an entire roll of chapstick. It's a bit where she like puts hand sanitizer in her eyes.
Yeah. Bit with the butt plugs.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
about
the
to say, are
butt
we
plug
going to
bit.
talk about that bit? Because that was just
Like these two guards are like diving for them to like do something
They were-
statistically unlikely and like improbable. So they're like just diving to put the butt plugs up their ass.
Yeah.
The part where like her daughter like kills all those guards was sick, and it was like, and then she starts like killing that one guy with like 2 dildos.
yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, this whole film was just like, you're either laughing or you're crying. I don't really know where to go with that.
Often both
Yeah.
at the same time.
That's something I really like about it. It's they do juggle all these emotions, and it just works. There's never a point where I was like, okay, that just feels really out of place. Like even if they do jump from like this really sad moment to a man running with Michelle Yeoh like controlling him,
Yeah,
like it's still like it really works.
yeah. I mean, some parts where I kind of dropped off was like some of the fighting. I felt maybe it could have done with being a bit tighter, or like some of the choreography just like looked a bit too much like they were on strings. There was like a part where she's like fighting those people with the riot shield, where it's like it's clearly just like the people on strings. I didn't have like too much of a problem
Yeah.
with a lot of the fighting because I think choreography wise I thought it was very well done. Just bits and pieces like that though. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I didn't have a problem with that. I thought it kind of fit the tone they were going for in the fights, because a lot of the fight scenes are like sprinkled with humor and silly moments, and I feel like it just kind of fit in with that.
I'm not really into that kind of thing when I don't really like fight scenes in movies because I always often find that they either go on for too long or I just don't.
Just stuff you've seen before.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But I mean, it works in the film, but
sometimes
it's just
they do implement it very well though.
yeah. No, I mean it works, but I just didn't care for it. I preferred the rest of the film where stuff like that wasn't happening.
Did you like kind of like at the third act climax of it where the dad's like, just be kind to them, and like she has to find a way
Oh,
of like,
I like that a bit actually.
like defeating all these people who are coming after her, but by being kind to them and like fulfilling their dreams and hopes. And
Yeah,
it's like,
I like that bit the
as they're
most.
climbing up the stairs. Yeah,
Yeah, like at the beginning of the movie, you find out he's like putting these googly eyes all around the apartment to like add happiness into their life because he thinks things are really like sad and dour. And
Aww.
that's like that comes in right at the end when she's like putting all these googly eyes on these people, and that's kind of bringing him something happy. No,
Mhm.
I thought that was really, really sweet.
yeah.
I think it's cute. I mean, I don't really understand how googly eyes do that. I mean, I guess they're goofy. I don't know.
Yeah, that's like,
It's just funny.
but that's just the kind of guy he is.
Yeah.
He's a very like warm, like silly sort of dad character.
Oh, no, I really like him. I just wanted to
Yeah.
hug him the whole time.
Played
It was
by,
like, that's how I get through. That's how I've gotten through life. You have to be kind. You have to be nice to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's played by Short Round from Indiana Jones,
Yeah.
and I think he's
Same.
like really great in this movie, whereas I hated him in that.
Yeah. He's moved up. He's fantastic in this movie. He's one of the better characters. Although I think everybody pretty much held their own. You got like James Hong as the grandpa, who's always fucking great in everything he does. He's done a lot of like voice acting for Disney as well. He has like a really distinct voice.
Yeah, he does. I love the music throughout. It's very like electronic-y. There's like moments of like orchestral stuff, but it's very strange, but I think it all sounds really, really fantastic. There's a beautiful song right at the end, in the end credits, sung by Mitski and David Byrne from Talking Heads. And that was it's such an incredible song. I thought it was a perfect way to end the movie.
Yeah, it all puts you in it. It really heightens it. We can go on to ratings if you guys want.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I fucking adore this movie so much. I was worried the second time around I wouldn't be as invested into it. And I think at first I was like, oh, okay, I'm not sure I like this as much, but that like kind of went away quite quickly, and I just got so invested into it. And I just think it's just a really fantastic movie. Everything it sets out to do, I think it does beautifully. I think the action's great. It's just visually very, very creative. Just, yeah, for me, it's just a perfect 10 out of 10 movie. Probably my favourite movie that's come out this year.
Yeah, I think same. Honestly, I think it's kind of tied with The Northman for me. I'll give it a 9 everything bagels out of 10.
9 everything bagels.
You know those everything bagels? I put everything into the bagel, and it created a time vortex. There's like one part where I was like sobbing when she like let her daughter go into the everything bagel. I was like,
yeah.
God, just like has to learn to let these things go. Like, I'm like, yeah, that's probably what you should do. You should learn to like do these things and like have these different parts of your life.
Yeah, do them from a distance or something.
Yeah, no, you don't have to like keep it. If she loves you enough, she'll come back for holidays. And so,
for holidays and holidays only.
And also, like, there was like a whole insistence where like she learns to like not be like prejudiced. I guess like her daughter has a girlfriend, and like it's a very hard time for her to like have to tell her father that she has a girlfriend. But then like he just took it fine anyway.
Yeah, he was like really happy. That was so sweet.
It was lovely. Yeah, 9 everything bagels. Thanks.
Yeah, I spent a lot of the time just laughing or crying, and I think when I left, I just went, bruh. So there's just like no amount of words that can sum up like a experience that is just so irregular. I can't explain it. Like, it was just such a unique experience. That's the word I was looking for. That it's just I don't know. I just think that everyone should go and see it, and they will understand exactly what I mean if you find it hard to comprehend what the hell you've seen. But it was like one of the best things you've ever seen. 10 bagel thingies out of 10.
Yeah, there was a lady in the screening I saw it in earlier who was very loudly like laughing and crying at it, and she just like sat there as the film ended, and like a member of staff came in clearly wanting to clean up, and she was like, sorry, I'm staying. Like, she just stayed there for the end credits because she was clearly having an incredible time.
She actually said, I'm staying here because I'm about to buy another ticket.
Play it again.
One more time.
I have nowhere to be. That's great. Yeah.
Fair play on it, though.
Everyone see it.
Yeah.
I hope it does well over here. I think Doctor Strange at the moment's doing better, but obviously it would do.
If it gets a 4K release.
We're all Marvel wankers here, so.
Well, you know, Doctor Strange had a bit more subtlety to it.
Yeah,
I'm just going to say that.
It barely tried. Right.
60s movies, anyone? We watched 3 movies from the 1960 decade of cinema. We were not alive to see these movies when they came out, but we're alive now and we've watched them. Some of us have watched some of them maybe even more than once. Who's to say? We got The Graduate, we got Onibaba, and that sounded like something from Aladdin, and Hello, Dolly. Chris, you want to kick it off with your pick?
Yeah, so I picked The Graduate, directed by Mike Nichols from 1967. The film stars Dustin Hoffman, who plays a character called Benjamin, who is a recent college graduate who's kind of incredibly anxious and scared about his future. Everyone around him, like his family and family friends, are like, what are you going to do with your life? Where are you going to go next? Are you going to go to graduate school? And he's kind of very aimless, doesn't really know what he wants to do, and kind of doesn't really want to think about it. And then suddenly he finds himself in this love triangle between his old family friend, Mrs. Robinson, and her daughter Elaine. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
we all had very different experiences watching this movie
Mhm.
because I've seen it. This is my third time watching it, and it's one of my favorite movies. But I don't think either of you shared the same sentiment.
Well, you
I'm
know,
s-
it's like really annoying, really fucking annoying, like the entire way through. I don't like the character. I think he's a bitch.
Yeah, I don't
Little
like him
bitch
either.
baby boy. Hate him, hate watching him, don't want him to succeed, don't want any good things to happen to him. He should just walk away from what he's doing and just like try to do something else, but he never does because he's a little whiny bitch.
Oh, okay.
Dustin Hoffman is a bit of a creep, so maybe that didn't help as well. But I just I did not care for it. I was pretty bored. There's a lot of fucking Simon and Garfunkel in there, and hey, props. I love those guys, they're alright. But fucking, I don't want a whole movie dedicated to why bloody Mike Nichols loves Simon and Garfunkel so much. You
Yeah.
know, it's a little grating. It goes on for a while. It's like it's over 2 hours or something.
No, it's an hour 40.
Well, it feels like it's over 2 hours.
It's an
and
hour
it just,
40.
It's an hour 40. And I just didn't. I didn't appreciate it. I don't think. I think maybe I understand why people like it. It's kind of what it's going for. Is like he's a bit of a prick. He's a bit of a cock. But I don't feel like he kind of learned anything, and that's that's my biggest flaw with the movie. I think it's like you can have a character who's quite flawed and doesn't really know what they're doing or what they're about, but if at the end of the day, like, and at the end of the movie, he's just like, well, I guess I'll just run off with this girl who I've known for 2 days, and there's no like consequence.
Yeah.
It never feels like there's a consequence. It's like the ending of Shark Tale almost.
The ending of Shark Tale.
Where like he lies the entire time and he gets found out, but it's fine, and he gets the girl.
Oh right. I don't really know how to feel about this movie though, but I think I agree with Max that I didn't like this guy, and because he's the main character, it's so hard to invest in a movie where you hate someone so much, where you
He's insufferable.
Yeah, like what do you want me to do with this like film? I like the idea of the film, like the plot and the story makes sense to me. Like it's okay, but he's not likable, so I just don't care whether like I don't know. Like yeah, no consequences ever happen for what he does, and he's just annoying. And he talks so slowly, and I just like I don't even hate the film. Like the film had potential and it was okay, but why did nothing ever happen to him? Why did he do the things that he did, and why is he an idiot? Like, who does the things that he does for a girl that he's only met like twice? It just doesn't compute to me. Like the creepy shit that he does, like he like finds out what school she goes to and like lives there for a while and fucking runs to her fucking wedding and starts like stealing her, or like kidnaps her basically.
Mrs. Bouvier.
Oh yeah, I said that. Just remind me of The Simpsons. Do you know what? I wish I was watching that episode of The Simpsons instead. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
I guess I want to know more about why you like the movie, Chris. Because I'm not saying like, oh, I can't believe anybody likes this. I think there's a market for it. I think there are a lot of, I don't know, like,
There's good things
do you think
about
you relate
the movie.
to it, or like, I thought maybe on some parts, like, I could kind of relate to a character who's kind of nervous and a bit awkward. I
Yeah.
think we can all be a bit awkward and nervous at times. But like this guy was it's like he'd never spoken to another person in his entire life, and like this movie was just him learning how to interact with other people.
Yeah, he's really frustrating. But the thing is, I'm not gonna completely like shit on the film, because I actually like the film, but I just wish he wasn't in it and it was someone else.
Yeah, I'd say I find the first bit of the movie quite relatable, where he is like at this family party and this family are like, "Oh, you're back!" Like basically shopping him around to all his friends, like all their friends who are like, "Oh, what are you going to do next?" and that kind of thing. Like him being very aimless and not really having a plan and kind of wanting to just, make the most of being young, while this like looming threat of the future is over him. That stuff I relate to. I do agree the character is very annoying and very awkward, like way too awkward to the point where there's like multiple bits I find incredibly like stressful and annoying, but I find it really funny as well. I think that's what makes those scenes all right for me, because I find just how awkward and uncomfortable and just stupid the character is. I find it really, really funny. But obviously, if you don't really find it funny, I can understand why you'd find it really insufferable.
I mean, there were parts that were kind of funny to me, but yeah, the rest of it was kind of just me being really frustrated by this guy who's just like, you just want to like grab him and like.
Sometimes I just felt he was making bad choices out of self-destruction. It's like, why would you like take this woman home who's like clearly flirting with you? She's like an older woman. She's friends with your parents. She's got a daughter about your age, and she's like, come back to my house. And then he like takes her there. Like, all right, fine. But then like he goes into her house and then he doesn't leave. I'm like, you could have just left at any point.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And he acts like he's some kind of like victim or something. It's like, I didn't want to be with you. You seduced me like one of them sirens, And I'm like, shut up, man. You could have left at any point. You could have just left.
Yeah, it's like he brings all of this on himself, and then you expect us to feel bad for him. Like, I don't feel bad for you, man. You're an idiot. Like you.
I don't know if we're supposed to feel bad for him though.
No, we're not.
Are we not? Because I don't know. Like, it just comes.
It's just like watching a lot of chaotic shit happen as a result of like his terrible decision making. Like he's not like he has like agency, but in all the wrong ways.
Yeah,
that's progresses
true,
the plot forward, but like the plot does kind of happen to him.
Yeah, I feel like he just makes the plot worse.
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, he does all these things and then like something will happen and it would just be like him making yet another stupid decision. Like when he takes that poor I've forgotten what the girl's name is.
Elaine?
When he takes poor Elaine to the strip club and she's crying and he's just like, well, I'm just going to carry on with it.
Any other way, really?
Yeah, you couldn't have just like...
He's like trying to turn her off.
Yeah.
He's like, this girl cannot know about me fucking her mum.
Yeah, you
So I've got to turn her off some way. I know, I'll take her to a strip club and then I'll be all right. And she's like starts crying. Like, you monster.
Yeah, like that was horrible.
The part I didn't like about that was like, okay, he could be kind of a cunt. He could be a bit of a dick to her if that's just who he is, because it kind of is. But then like she decides to be with him anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that was
really
pretty
weird.
cool. It was pretty cool that he took me to that strip club and then told me about how he sucks at being alive. I'm going to marry this guy.
Yeah, I didn't understand that at all. I mean, it must have just... All I could think of is that maybe she has the same sort of, like, issues. Like, she doesn't know what she wants to do in life and stuff as well. So she's just...
Maybe she's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he is great, but I doubt it because he's... I think what I found...
Maybe she's great. Maybe she doesn't have any problems.
Right, like, I think what I found...
just love a little skinny, pathetic man who doesn't know anything about anything.
Yeah, like, I just...
Can't talk to anyone.
Just what the most frustrating part to me, like the whole most frustrating part, was that these people are, like, falling at his feet, and he is, like, the most undesirable person I've ever, like, watched on anything. Why? What's so great about him that you want to... ruin your marriage and like
why are you throwing your life away for this little stick of a man?
Oh God, it's just awful.
There's nothing to him. He doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't know anything about anything. He just knows that he wants to fuck this older woman and feel guilty about it a bit. Like,
I think I don't know. I
think something I enjoy about the movie is seeing this person who like just makes his own life difficult for him because he just is so inept in every single way. That's where a lot of the humor for me comes from, is just seeing this guy just constantly fucking up and making everything so much more comfortable and awkward and weird for himself.
I just have a feeling
like there's so many, like you're watching the movie and you're like, okay, this is the logical thing you can do to make this situation like better, and he just makes it so much harder, and that's kind of what I enjoy watching from it.
I actually think Chris just enjoys watching people that also hate themselves.
Yeah. One of my favourite scenes in the movie is when he first takes Mrs. Robinson to the hotel, and he's just like so worried that someone's going to find out. So he's like makes up a fake name to multiple people, and like he tries to order a drink at one point, and the bartender just walks away and just like, oh, okay.
Just like holds his hand up.
Yeah.
Like, what do you expect?
There's the bit where he like orders a room, he just gets a single room, and instead of going over and telling her what the room is, he calls her from a payphone.
Yeah. It's insane. Yeah. So many fucking hoops he's got to jump through of his own making.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. I think everyone in this movie is on crack as well. Everyone in this movie is on fucking crack. It's just like, no human being would act in the ways that these people do. Like, what is happening throughout this whole movie? It's like, okay, I know, like, I understand. He's just a bit of a weirdo. But like, everyone else is just fucking insane. Like, why does this woman want to sleep with this child? Why is this like parents so like they are? I don't know. Like, he announces that like he's getting married, and his mum like shrieks. It's like she's just walked in on him, like ripping his guts falling out of his body. Like, it was that kind of shriek. Like, yeah, I'm getting married. What the fuck is happening here?
Yeah. I don't know if it's like I feel like it might be just kind of a thing of its time where there was a lot more pressure for people to settle down and get married, so people would kind of like meet someone and go like, yeah, we're going to get married and have kids straight away without actually knowing whether they love each other.
Disney rules.
That noise was ungodly. Like, even when
it was a shriek.
Even when Elaine starts screaming, I'm like, this film is just, there's too much screaming.
Elaine, who has a
movie.
framed portrait of herself in her room.
That she does.
So yeah, I don't think this character is all that stable. Maybe she does have a lot of problems.
I mean, I feel like she does.
She's working on like Disney rules where like she meets a guy, she marries him immediately,
She
and
can
like,
change her.
when that doesn't happen, like her parents arrange a marriage for her.
Yeah.
Fucking weird.
I don't know. Just weird stuff.
You know, like that he calls Mrs. Robinson, even though like they're fucking.
Oh yeah, because I said, what's her first name? And no one knows. No one knows.
Yeah, no, the only characters in the movie who have a first name are like the younger people. So there's like obviously Benjamin, Elaine, and then Elaine's love interest, the other one. Everyone else is just known by like Mr. or Mrs. Robinson or Mr. Braddock and that kind of thing.
Maybe it's also about like navigating that transition into adulthood.
Yeah, it is.
It's like yeah, I guess that's just a gap year, you know. We all do these kinds of things on our gap year, you know. And that's what he's kind of doing. It's like, it's kind of weird state between school and like the real world, and you don't really understand what you need to do, or like nobody tells you what you should do, or like what can you do to make your life better by.
Yeah, what was that really hilarious thing that he said when he was in the pool, and we just all started laughing about like college degrees or something.
I've got it written down. It's like, you mind telling me what those 4 years of college were for? He says, you got me. I'm like, yeah. Okay.
It's so relatable, that bit. I think that was the only time that I was like, do you know what? Fair enough,
Taking
man.
it easy. What you doing, Ben?
Taking
it easy.
Yeah, that's just the thing about the character, though. I feel like he is insistent on trying to like live a different life to everyone else. He doesn't want to just, you know, go through college and then go straight into like maybe graduate school or like a full-time job. He kind of is trying to do things differently, and I think as the film goes on, as he becomes like so insistent on, you know, marrying Elaine and, you know, getting with her, I feel like he starts to kind of fall into the cycle that he was trying to avoid. And I think that's something that the ending kind of depicts really well, where he does go to her wedding and they run off together and get on this bus, and they like sat on this like the back of this bus, and they're like smiling and laughing, and slowly their like smiles start to fade. And they start to just look kind of sad and depressed.
I don't even know why they've done it. Yeah.
I think that's when like reality's starting to sit in, and they're kind of like, we've just kind of like fallen into doing everything we didn't want to do. We're kind of just becoming like everyone else now.
They fucked it.
Yeah.
He broke his car to get there, and then like he has to get on a bus with her. He has no money, he has no job, because he's just been on his gap year. It's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Nothing. You're probably going to hate each other.
Yeah, like
You
no
hate
one.
each other 2 days.
Yeah, no one thought this through.
Yeah, that's kind of what I also think that like last shot's about. Like, that's when they're realizing, well, what do we do now? You know, we've run away from this wedding, but there's still going to be consequences from this. We can't just keep running. And that's why I love that final shot, because it says so much. And apparently it was like a happy accident. The film was like supposed to end with literally just them like smiling, but Mike Nichols just kept the camera rolling as they like stopped smiling, and he was like, "Oh my god, that's perfect."
That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
because
that.
it like
Oh, a genuine
completely,
not
I think,
smile.
changes the end of the movie.
Yeah,
It can't. Yeah,
it's like that
does.
story with what Passion of the Christ or the Last Temptation of Christ. Like they just the film just sputtered out. They
Yeah.
have to end the movie.
Oh, nice.
I like that. Like when he's like, I'm just a little worried about my future. Like that's all he ever says to anyone. It's like, oh, what are you
Yeah.
gonna do? I'm just a little worried about my future.
I think
Just gonna sleep on the Lido in the pool.
the only other gripe I had about this film was how many times I had to hear Scarborough Fair.
Yeah, too many
Yeah.
times playing fucking Sound of Silence and Scarborough Fair. A lot of Simon and Garfunkel music.
Yeah,
Just every time, it's like when it hit a point where like they played a song and then they played the same song again immediately after. I was like, oh, what are you doing? What you do? It's like a playlist. It's like they're cycling through a playlist of songs, and it got really fucking grating, really annoying.
Yeah, I really like the usage of Simon and Garfunkel for a while, as because it was like one of, if not the first times ever, that instead of using like a musical score, they used like pre-existing like pop songs. And that's something like really revolutionary that the film did. And yeah, after that, you had like the film Easy Rider, which also did it, and then it just became kind of a staple.
I don't
And
even-
like, I feel like the music, sometimes it can be incredibly on the nose, like when it's being used. But I feel like a lot of the time, like the music and like the lyrics kind of meant to be paralleling the character's state of mind. I do wish that they chose more music rather than reusing the same songs,
yeah,
especially the Scarborough Fair part, which I honestly do think is like my one big problem with the movie.
yeah, because they play it 4 times in a row,
Yeah,
pretty
it
much.
is really ridiculous.
I was having such a bad time when they did that. I was like pushing my palms into my eyes.
He was
couldn't-
literally like
I
gouging
couldn't
out
do
his
it.
eyes,
I couldn't
and
manage it.
it's funny because like that was probably the funniest part of the film for me. Was just like I was like, if I look at Max now, I'm literally gonna
Just
like wet
watching
myself.
me
I was
close
just
to breaking.
no, it's because it happened the 3rd time, and you're like, oh my god, and then it happened the 4th time, and I just lost it because I couldn't stop laughing.
And then I
'Cause
was
you
like,
look like you
I'm
want
pretty
to
sure this
die.
is the last time they play it. And
Yeah.
Max was like, don't say that, don't give me
Yeah.
hope.
I think it was though.
It was.
Yeah. No, because Chris was like, oh, I hope you're ready to hear it 3 times. So I was expecting it 3 times. Then when it happened a 4th time and just watch Max break, oh my god, it was like Christmas morning for me. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my whole
Just like that,
life.
and also knowing that I had 2 more movies to watch after it. It felt so long.
Do you know what? I can't believe that's an hour 40. That was, but then I was saying this during the film, and everyone was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" But I just felt like all the dialogue between the characters was so like slow. Like conversations were really slow, and I don't know whether that's because Dustin Hoffman in this film is talking really like, I talk really slowly, and I'm really sad, and I'm scared about
Like
the
timid
future.
and sad and depressed
Yeah,
all
and
the
I was
time.
just like, can you speak a bit like faster? Like fucking hell.
You ever having a good time ever, mate? No, I don't think so.
No.
What's a gap year for?
Yeah, it just felt like it went on for ages. Like an hour 40 felt like a long time.
That was like, what are you doing with your life? You know what? 3 weeks out of college and doing nothing, that's fine. But now you gotta put your head in gear. I'm like, 3 weeks. Fucking.
Yeah, who does that after? But then this was the 60s, so I guess maybe in the 60s, 3 weeks was
Mm.
4 months worth of
Gotta get
time.
your ass down in the salt mines, boy. Make that money.
I think the character I find the most interesting in the movie is Mrs. Robinson.
Mhm.
She is.
She's like this really, really sad character. She's in this like loveless marriage. She kind of dropped like all her life plans because she became pregnant and then ended up becoming a housewife, and she's now alcoholic, and she's dating this still like in this like affair with this younger man who like to fulfill her needs and just to feel wanted and attractive, and like she clearly doesn't really like this person. She's just kind of doing it because she likes the attention, and I think that's something I find really interesting about her. It's really sad to watch.
sleeps in a different room to her husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really depressing.
It's depressing.
Yeah.
It's like never resolved with her.
Yeah.
Guess I'll just go back to. I'll get on the next kid I see.
Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think she picks him because, you know, he's easy. I think she picks him because she's so desperate she'll literally go after anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The whole time I was like, what's the dad gonna think about this? I'm like, you better stay away. See you later.
Yeah, like this is what I mean by no consequences. Even when he's like confronted
know,
by
like, how did he find him?
like
He was like living in like a weird kind of apartment on the outskirts of like Elaine's school.
Yeah. How did you know
she
where he was?
lived? How did he know where he lived?
Yeah, because she didn't even know he was there until she saw him on the bus. So unless she gave him a tip off afterwards, 'cause I'm pretty sure it happened afterwards, it would make sense.
I feel like he should have just crashed the car on the way to her wedding, and that would have been a really great ending for me.
Yeah.
If he had crashed there, I was like, consequences.
Could have done like a whiplash kind of thing.
Yeah.
That
But I mean, I don't mind the ending we got. You know, they kind of maybe that hint in their eyes that like something's probably not gonna. This ain't gonna pan out for them. That's
No.
all right. I don't mind that.
Yeah, I don't consider it a happy ending.
No.
No, I don't.
Not at all.
Do people? Because it did seem like
No,
it.
I think had it cut like 10 seconds earlier, then maybe, but because they hang on that shot, I think that kind of completely changes it.
Yeah.
I generally just love the visuals throughout the whole movie. I think there's a lot of great usage of cinematography and like really creative visual moments. Like there's a lot of usages of water throughout. Mike Nichols kind of wants to use water as like this motif to kind of show how out of depth in his life he was, and like to show distance between him and other characters, hence why he's like constantly spending time in the pool by himself with like everyone else on the outside of the pool. There's that scuba diving bit where he like gets this like scuba costume for his birthday, and it's kind of forced to get into the water, and his parents won't let him get up, so he just like stands at the bottom of the ocean.
At the pool?
Yeah, at the bottom of the sea.
The bottom of the ocean. Jesus Christ.
I said the pool.
Yeah.
I said
We've
the
actually
sea.
lost you.
Yeah, the sea.
He went to the trenches.
I actually really like that shot where he's lying on the Lido on the pool, and his parents are like swimming around him. They're like, you should take the girl Elaine out to dinner. Why don't you take Elaine out to dinner? Like swimming around them like sharks. That was cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of like great stuff like that. There's a Dutch angle at one point when they first get together in the hotel, which I noted down. I really liked that. I love the colouring throughout as well. I think a lot of it is like really bright and vibrant and very colourful, especially when it's in the water sequences. A lot of him in the pool where it's just
foliage.
very bright. Yeah, a lot of foliage as well.
Foliage.
Apparently Mike Nichols intentionally went for like a different visual approach before and after he falls in love with Elaine, whereas like the first part he wanted to kind of have this cold, like glassy sort of look, whereas when they get into the more romantic scenes, he shot a lot of it with long lenses and diffused shots, which he didn't really like doing, but he thought would fit well with the second half of the film.
Did you like how they wear sunglasses at night?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awful.
You like
I
all
don't
that?
know.
You like when he got out of the pool and then immediately put a shirt on without drying himself?
That's definitely a.
You're not cringe at that.
But
No,
that was a sequence I really loved where he, like it cuts every time he like moves, like cuts to him in a different location. So like he walks in putting his shirt on, and it cuts to him walking out of the bathroom with Mrs. Robinson, and then it cuts to what you think is him lying down on the bed waiting for him and Miss Robinson to get together, and it cuts to him like at home getting up to shut the door between him and his parents. I thought that was a really creative sequence.
Yeah, I really liked that actually. Like overall, I thought that scene was quite good at like kind of going through bits of like time without actually having to like, you know, put something like 6 years later or something stupid. You know what I mean? But oh god, I spent like half of it just trying to get over that wet t-shirt. I'm not even gonna lie, that was awful.
Yeah, Max like shouted, "What are you doing?"
It was like a sensory like nightmare for me. Like I hate that so much.
It was horrendous.
But no, I thought how they did that was really
Alright,
cool.
first I wasn't keen on you, and now I actively hate you.
He's a psychopath. Like for sure.
Only an insane person would do things like this. Wearing sunglasses at night. Oh my god.
Still cool though.
So many people wore sunglasses at night. Couldn't take it.
Yeah, those sunglasses were awful as well. But then, like, all the people on the street wearing them as well, so it's not like he's the only weirdo doing it. Like, there's...
Just a town full of sickos.
Yeah.
Sick freaks.
This is the 60s, baby.
Interestingly, apparently Anne Bancroft and Dustin Hoffman in real life were only 6 years apart in age, because she looks like quite a lot older than she actually
Miss
was.
Robinson, then?
Yeah, because she was a long time like smoker and drinker, and Dustin Hoffman just looked quite good for his age.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so how old are they then in there? Like...
He was like 30, she was 36.
He was 30. I mean, I knew that he didn't, because he's supposed to be like 20 going 21 in this film, and he didn't look that, but I wouldn't have said he looked 30 either.
Yeah, no, I think when it came out, a lot of people complained about him being cast because the film's based on a book. I think a lot of people complained because he was too old to play the character.
People always complain about these kinds of
Saying
things.
that, like this is one thing that I don't understand about that, because you could say that about anything that's on nowadays, because everyone looks so much old. No,
I complained about that with Chaos Walking, and look how that turned out.
Yeah, like everyone just looks so much older than they are. Like, you know, when you get those American shows with like teenagers at school and they're played by like 30-year-olds, it really shows. I don't think he looked that old in this, to be honest, but he definitely wasn't 21.
No. He definitely looks older than 20.
I would have said he was at least 26.
I don't think it distracted me, really.
No.
I thought it was fine.
No, I did. The only time I went, ugh, is when he actually said he was 21. I went, no, you're not. But that was it. I didn't think about it again for the rest of the film, so it didn't bother me.
That's the key age, though. Couldn't have been like 26.
No, because 21's meant to be that age, isn't it? Yeah. The American age of legal adulthood. Yeah.
Should we go on to ratings?
Sure.
Yeah. I did just want to quickly add, one of the reasons I picked it past it being like one of my favourite movies is it was like one of the highest grossing movies of the entire 60s. I think by the third year it had come out, it had become the third highest grossing movie of all time. And adjusted for inflation now, it's made $857 million. So it's like the 23rd highest grossing movie of all time in America.
Wow.
My God. That is a lot of dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was just a huge movie when it was out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard about it like everywhere.
Yeah.
But I've never actually seen it. Yeah.
Well, good on him.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Thanks, Dustin Hoffman. Love you.
Love you.
Should we rate this out of Mr. Megorium's, another classic Dustin Hoffman role?
Mr. Megorium? Does that have nothing to do with The Graduate?
Dustin Hoffman. He was Mr. Megorium.
I'll just give him this, Darcy. Fine.
Yeah.
This is what the podcast has come to.
Yeah, like I said, it's one of my favourite movies. I think I've said everything I need to say about it. I give it like 10 Mr. Megoriums out of 10. It's probably like right on the edge of being a 9. I think maybe with a few more watches it could go down or could cement my views, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad I watched it, at least to say that I've watched it. It is like one of those movies that everyone's like hyped about. I think it has its place, but it's not for me. I didn't care for the dude. I did not care for all the terrible choices he made, and just like how unsympathetic of a character he was. And I didn't find it funny in that sense either. So I'll probably give it like a 5 Mr. Megoriums out of 10. I don't really want to watch it again, so I'm just going to stick with a 5.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'd be in a rush to watch this again, but I think maybe if I did, it would maybe give me a bit more insight into why I should hate him so much more. But I don't know. I can't enjoy a movie that I'm supposed to like actually like watch a character of for like an hour and a half. Like, what? I don't want to watch that. But I mean, I'm glad I watched it because it's another one of those like bucket list movies that you can just kind of go, yep, I've seen it, and then you never have to watch it ever again. Yeah, and there was elements that I liked. The story was good, but I felt like it could have done something else. 6 out of 10. Sorry, I forgot what we were rating out of.
We're on to my one. I picked one from 1964. It's a Japanese movie directed by a man, I think, called Kaneto Shindo. It is called Onibaba. It's a period drama, horror sort of movie set in 14th century Japan, I believe, just outside of Kyoto, which has been ravaged by an ongoing war. Two women survive in a landscape of tall silver grass by killing unsuspecting samurai and looting their corpses of armor and weapons. And then there's this other guy called Hachi, and he returns from the war. He's run back. He's like, I gotta get away from the war, man. So he comes back. He brings news to these two women saying that Kichi, the older woman's son, and the younger woman's husband, same person, has been killed mercilessly in this war. So now, horny and alone, the younger woman seeks solace in Hachi, who visits, and she visits him in the night, much to her mother-in-law's disapproval, until the mother-in-law tries to stop them with a mysterious mask torn from the face of a dead samurai. This is one of the movies in the 1001 Movies book, I think. That's where I must have seen it. And I thought, this looks fucking weird. So I watched like the first 10 minutes and I was like, this is pretty weird. I think I'll recommend it for the 60s movie marathon.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? It's quite strange. It's quite a weird movie. Quite horny.
Very horny.
I think, all in all, I got quite a lot out of it. I thought it was quite strange and weird and kind of what I'm looking for from this type of movie, I guess. I haven't seen many old Japanese movies. And we talked about Seven Samurai in an earlier podcast episode. I think they're vastly different movies. I think this one's way more insular. It takes place like entirely within this like landscape of tall grass. A lot of really interesting ways that they use that within the cinematography. I had a really, really interesting time with this. Quite enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very interesting movie. I don't think I loved the movie, but I really did respect it. I think that's probably what I got more out of it. I've maybe a greater sense of respect than total enjoyment, because for me, I did find it a little bit tedious at points, a little bit repetitive sometimes, especially like in maybe the second act, where I felt like a lot of the scenes were kind of repeating over and over again. But I definitely think it's a very unique movie. I've never seen a movie quite going for what it's going for.
Yeah, it's it feels experimental. It's very weird. I don't know. I was kind of vibing with it. I think mostly because I found quite a lot of, there's not like a lot happening, but the music makes it really like atmospheric. It just felt weird. And you just hear all this music like
weird, like really loud,
shit,
fucking chaotic jazz score.
Yeah, it was so weird.
Yeah, and like a lot of like ambient sort of like windy noise sort of stuff throughout as well. I think that does a great job of kind of setting the mood for the film, because a lot of scenes I'd say are literally just like characters eating food and just chilling, living life, but like the music's like so dark and ethereal. It's like, okay, this is creepy, these people eating noodles when what's actually happening isn't really that creepy.
Pretty sure
I think that's something interesting.
Sick fucks with their noodles.
Yeah, how dare they eat
weird.
things?
You got like that hole that they throw samurai down.
Yeah.
The hole. It gets its own fucking introduction in like the credits. It's like it introduces the movie, and then like the credits flash on screen, and then it like cuts to this hole and it says the hole.
Yeah,
like, this means something.
Yeah, like it's its own character.
It kind of was.
Yeah.
It kind of is. It's like I think there's like a possession angle going on with this movie, and I think the hole has something to do with it.
Yeah, I read a review that said this was the original It Follows.
Really?
It was
in what way?
I don't know. I didn't read the whole thing, but I thought it was because of the mask. I thought once you like possess the mask, it kind of takes over you. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it could have been
just because it's a horny horror movie.
Quite horny, yeah.
Oh yeah, it could have been because it's horny as well. I got it from because obviously in that film you you sleep with someone, then you have to sleep with someone else to pass it on. I kind of got that thing from The Mask. I mean, I could be completely fucking wrong, but that's what I got from that comment.
Well, the film is meant to be, at least from what the director said, it's meant to kind of be an allegory for like the fallout after Hiroshima. The effects of the mask on those who wear it are symbolic of the disfigurement of the victims of the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Right.
And a lot of the film is meant to like reflect the traumatic effect of this happening on like Japanese society. I think it's told in a very bleak and effective way in those instances. It does kind of feel almost post-apocalyptic in a way, where just these characters living on their own,
almost
kind of away from everyone, kind of.
There's like no humans.
Yeah, they're like struggling to eat. They're like eating rats to stay alive, and like having to obviously pawn off like the best armor of people they kill, just to get any money to eat.
Yeah, there's like that part where Hachi comes back, and he's basically describing his experience with the war. They don't show any of it, but it's just like this guy talking about like how he like had to play dead for the enemy. I think it was like a civil war. It's like I looked it up. It's like a 50-year civil war.
Yeah,
known as the Nanboku Cho period. And it lasted from 1336 to 1392. I think it's like loosely based on that. They kind of used the actual generals as well. I'm going to butcher this name. It was like Hachi speaks of an attack by General Takoji Ashikaga, and I think he came to power in like the 1330s. So it's definitely taken from like historical events. But when he was describing his experiences within the war, and like how he and their husband and son were like died in that war, it was really vivid. Like the storytelling, it was just like him speaking, and it was just like the storytelling on display was fucking. It was vivid and it was really visceral. I think the film was also shot in the Suzuki grass field in Numa in Chiba. I think they filmed it like the year it came out, so like quite a quick turnaround. But it is quite minimalist in that way, and I think a lot of the atmosphere does come from. I don't know if I'm like so super entangled with the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
It is more like a vibes thing that's got going on.
definitely.
All the shots with like the grass swaying and the wind and all that. I was like, it's like a hypnotic effect. It has. It's like just every time I was like never bored with it. Actually, never really bored with the movie. I was kind of with it for the entire time, and I don't feel like it ever fell off. It was quite well paced for me.
Yeah,
I think.
I feel like the film. I find it very, very claustrophobic because it pretty much everything is set within like a couple of small huts, and when it's outside, it's always like surrounded by all these reeds. There's there's only like maybe one point I can think of where the characters are like got an empty stretch of stuff around them, and that's when they're on the water, which I feel like you can also say in itself is kind of claustrophobic in a way. Everything is pretty much like very close together. There's not really much space between the characters.
Yeah, every time they kind of shot the characters running through the grass, it would be like sometimes it would be like this like slowed down effect with the visuals, or like they echo the voices, and that all really helped to like drive the atmosphere in. I found it all those scenes was like, yes, another character running naked through the grass. I love it.
I found the in some of those sequences like the day and night cycle to be a bit weird, where like some shots it would be like pitch black nighttime, and then suddenly it would cut to like the sky being like bright.
Yeah,
I found
time
that
to go to
really
bed.
strange.
Bright.
It kind of hurt your eyes, didn't it? You were getting used to like one thing, then. Okay,
But like, there was like a couple bits where characters would be running like through the grass, and it would cut to like maybe a character like waiting for them to get there, and like maybe they're running and it's like bright outside, and it cuts to the other character and it's like pitch black, and then it'll cut back and it's like pitch black, and then it'll cut back and it's light. That seemed to happen quite a lot. That was a bit jarring. I don't know if that was intentional, whether that was a budgetary thing.
It might have been a budgetary thing. I don't know. Maybe they had to get it done quickly. I don't know.
I can't fault it too much for that because of like its time and stuff.
Yeah, and sort of what it's going for. I don't know. It's interesting to see a movie from this time, like with two basically female leads, like badasses who like kill samurai. Like the fucking first thing you see is like them stabbing these two samurai, and like the fucking screams from them. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's horrifying. But I found them to be like really, really great, really good performances from both of those people. They don't have names in the movie, which I found quite strange. I don't know if that was done for like just because they don't need names or like on purpose. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like woman and young woman.
Yeah.
That was it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
only
You mean old
Hachi.
woman? I thought everyone was quite harsh. I don't think she was that old.
No, she was like, I looked up, she was like 37 or
What
something.
the hell?
Yeah, she's got like quite a distinct look with
Yeah.
the fucking weird frayed eyebrows and like
And the
This wild
grey, like
shock of grey through her hair. Yeah, I really like the look to her. I think, and just this. It's kind of like three characters throughout this entire movie. It's just these people kind of playing off of each other. You get like the samurai who come in, but they're mostly background type of characters that you kill off and take the armor from. I think the mask itself was really kind of, it stood out. Like you think of this movie, I think when people think of this movie, they think of that mask because it is very, it does stand out a lot. I think it's a really well designed costume, especially like the whole samurai get up because he wants to get out of the grass, and she's the old woman's like, well, the mother was kind of leading him out of the grass, and like you just see him all in his samurai garb. It looked really cool.
Yeah, it's like the film was heavily inspired by a Shin Buddhist parable, which like translated to bride scaring men or no, bride scaring mask or mask with flesh attached, which is kind of like the same sort of thing. Like a mother uses a mask to scare her daughter from going to the temple, and she's punished by the mask sticking to her face. And obviously, when she tries to take it off, her flesh comes with it.
Ooh.
That's kind of what the film's heavily inspired by.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
She was trying to send her daughter to horny jail all the time, so
It's a really great look. The director William Friedkin actually took inspiration from that mask when using the white-faced demon in The Exorcist. The design of the mask was like heavily inspirational on that look that keeps coming out throughout that movie.
I thought it was quite cool. Every single time she was coming out at night to like freak out that the younger one was just like, I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. Like every time it happened, I was like, that's cool.
And this like white gown's got kind of a glow to it.
Yeah.
It looked freaky. I'm like, yeah, probably you would be like, oh fuck this, run in the other direction.
It was like, I think it was like the angles and stuff they were going for. It was like she was like floating, like she was like floating backwards.
Yeah.
It was fucking terrifying.
It's really effective. Yeah. Like fucking Hachi just like getting really sexually frustrated, like running through the reed to go, fucking smacking himself and shit. It's like, too horny for your own good, mate. Where is she? I guess when your husband goes off to war and then he dies, you just get unreasonably horny.
Yeah, apparently so, yeah.
I found it quite weird that like they were living together, like the mother and the daughter-in-law. It was quite strange. And like why the mother would like, I understood why she wouldn't want the daughter to be doing what she was doing, because like she kind of justified it by like, then she'll leave me and then I wouldn't be able to kill the samurai, like she's the strong one. And she just does it anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just because they don't have anyone else.
Yeah. Do they feel like friends, do you think?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I assume they're still kind of family at the end of the day. So I assume maybe it's just kind of like that companionship as well, because there's only the three of them left in the world, it seems. So
something I really liked about the visual to the movie was like the lighting. I don't know if it was intended to look the way it is or whether it's just the transfer that they put on movie that we watched it on. But there's a lot of like really harsh, bright lights on some of the characters. Seems like it's just like very bright and striking a lot of the time.
About the like the reeds, like the long grass. I was like, that grass does not even look like it would be a colour.
Yeah, a lot of the characters, like, because it's a black and white movie, but a lot of the time the characters are like, their skin is just like pure bright white from how much is lit up, and I actually like really liked that.
Yeah, a sense of heat as well to the movie. They were always complaining about how hot it is, and you understand that it's like just from the way they look and like they're sweating. And
the sweat is so vile.
Yeah, when they were like in the in Hachi's place, and like they were like holding each other, like they was dripping with sweat. It was crazy. I think it was probably just really hot there.
Oh no,
I do like how they use the grass as well, and they never show like the borders of this kind of landscape in the field of grass, so you get a sense that it's like it could be like quite small, but it could go on forever. Like you don't know.
Yeah, I really appreciated that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the film's only really set in this like small sort of area.
Yeah, it was nice to see like commentary on like war as well, and like how fruitless it is, and how like nothing really comes from it, and you just watch people die, and you run away, and like maybe you could be branded a coward for that, but it's like you're fighting for your life, you know. And there's like the samurai who comes in, and he's like, I wear this mask because it makes me look fierce, and then the woman says, there's no point in looking fierce now. Like you ran from the war. There's no use in looking fierce. He did say like he had the mask on because he was like the most beautiful man in the world, and that's why he wasn't going to take it off because she was too peasantly to look upon his beautiful face.
Yeah, and she was like, "Why don't you take it off?" And he was like, "Do you dare fall in love with me?" or something like that.
Yeah, but he was just like scarred and like horrendously like the mask had taken its toll. There was like a really shocking scene when she put on the mask, and it did that same thing to her, and she couldn't get it off. And, like she was just screaming, just like howling in like pain when the daughter-in-law was trying to tear the mask off. It was like horrendous.
She starts
smacking
using
it with a hammer.
a hammer to like literally smash the mask into two.
Fucked up. So much of this was just like, maybe if you'd watched it in like the 60s, it would have been absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And I do think it is insane, but I'm not really getting fear from it, more just like Chris said, like a deep appreciation for what they're going for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when it was originally submitted to the BBFC in the UK in 1965, England basically said no, we're not releasing this. And then in 1968, it was released with an X classification, which is like the equivalent of an 18 now, but they were forced to make cuts to even release it. Obviously now it's released fine. I think it's a 15.
Yeah.
The final like 5 seconds or so is so bizarre.
Yeah. I think the like whole ending is very, very abrupt.
Yeah.
There isn't really any closure or conclusion at all. It just kind of ends.
No, I mean, I didn't even hate that. It was just, I was confused because I actually thought like the TV had died.
Yeah, it just cut to black.
Like it just went black, and we were like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because then for some reason on Mubi there was like a minute of nothing after the film ends. So we were all just sat there like, has the TV turned off? What's going on?
I don't mind that, to be honest. You just sat there like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I was just staring at it like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, maybe there was no time to take it in. Maybe that's what it was like. It was like, here you go. That was, this is what you got.
Like nothing much was sold. Like it just ends.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. Felt like I had like run a marathon. Like, what the fuck was that? It like spits you out.
Yeah. It was so quick. It's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like nothing's really solved with like their son / husband-in-law that it's possible he comes back at the end and kills Hashi, and then that's that.
Yeah, nothing happens after that.
You don't see them again.
Maybe it wasn't him, we don't know. But like, maybe it was just a random samurai who came in and like, he had his guard down because he was too horny. These things happen. I don't know if I kind of like the way it ended. Just like, that's how it is, and like there's no resolution to it. Just a consequence of like the times they were living in, and war things don't make sense, and it's hard to kind of navigate the world in that way.
Yeah, I think it's a good ending.
Yeah, definitely. Should we go on to ratings then?
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll rate it out. You know what? They killed that dog. We'll rate it out of dog meat.
Don't you fucking bring that up again.
Yeah, this is a good movie. I definitely feel like it does warrant a place in that 1001 movies list. I think it is a movie that everyone really needs to see if you're interested in movies or especially like Asian cinema. I feel like it's definitely got its place in history, and it's clearly a very important movie. But I've got a lot of respect for it. Not sure if I'd watch it again, but maybe at some point. Guess I'd give it like 7 dog meats out of 10.
I would watch it again. I was really gripped. And it's just like it's vibes, you know, and you get the vibes from it, and then it ends and you're like, that was a vibe. I like when Hachi squats over the hole, this big hole that all the samurai have fallen down. He just screams like, "I want a woman!" And I mean, to be fair to him, he then got a woman. So
that is true.
I think that's the possession side of it, and I think that's the influence of the hole. I think there was something to do with it. The hole was like an entity in and of itself. It was like really deep and like cavernous. It was weird. Really weird movie. Really good. I'll give it 7 dog meats out of 10.
Yeah, I thought the hole was meant to be like magical, because when he said he wanted a woman and got it, I thought, oh, is this hole like some like, you know, like just some weird like magical being that can grant wishes or something? And then you just turn that it's just full of like bones. It's horrible. What did I watch though? This is the thing. Like, I'm just confused. But I mean, once again, if you want like a unique experience, I think Asian cinema is definitely going to give it to you, because I was
like unique.
Lost.
You get really unique films from that side of the world,
which is sometimes why you should watch them, because if you want to watch something that, you know, isn't the same shit all the time, it's quite interesting. But I don't really know how I felt about it, to be honest. I'll give it a 7 for now, but I'm not sure if that will ever be the final rating.
Yeah, that's fair. Laughing before you've even introduced it.
Yep. Sorry. I think it's just out of pure elation at this point. So I picked a movie, an infamous movie from 1969, directed by our favourite Gene Kelly. It's Hello, Dolly, of course.
It's what?
Hello, Dolly.
Hello, Dolly.
Hello, Dolly.
Are you a character from EastEnders?
Well, whenever I hear it, that's kind of how I think about it in my head, because be Hello, Dolly, but it's not even British. That's sad. Actually, even sadder still was this movie. Where do I go? It's about a matchmaker called Dolly Levi, who is basically just navigating the love lives of like the people that she like clientels with, and they go to New York and stuff happens. And there's not really a plot to this movie, to be honest. People go to New York and they won't come home until they kiss a girl. There you go.
They dance and they sing songs.
The whole
and it's
plot.
a musical.
And they
it's like
sing.
a comedy musical.
Yes.
Yeah, and everyone gets together and is happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2.5 hours long.
Yeah, too long.
Feels it.
Yeah.
Feels longer.
Well, I only picked it because I heard from people that it was good film. And obviously I had seen bits of it in Wall-E, and I really liked the songs in it. So I was
I'd seen the Pixar movie Wall-E, and I wanted to watch this movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's a fair assumption.
Yeah, and then that great song plays about 15 minutes into the movie, and that was that then.
And it's all downhill from there.
And that was that.
Yeah.
It's 2.5 hours of just a movie without any plot. It's a vehicle for just the songs and the dancing, and all the like set pieces and costumes. It's quite. I mean, I didn't mind it so much, but I didn't really latch on to the plot, because there's a lot of iffy stuff going along around here, which we'll get into. But I think mostly I was latching onto all the really nice costumes, mostly that the women were wearing, because the men, they didn't get many nice costumes.
No.
They were just wearing the same sort of thing, really, weren't they?
Pretty dull on that side. But then I don't really remember any of the songs. I was engaged with all the choreography. I think that's where I got my enjoyment from.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of like great costume design and set design, especially throughout. I think on a technical level, a lot of what the film's going for is really good. I can't really fault it for how it is visually and how a lot of the set pieces are like directed and set up. But when it comes down to the Ada songs and also just the general writing, I think that's where the film really like falls apart for
Yeah,
me.
I loved all the colours in this. I was like, this film is so colourful.
Yeah, it's super
So beautiful.
colourful.
And I don't know, I think everyone just looked amazing. And I just think that is so unrealistic. Why do you all look amazing? Like, even the poor people looked so good. I was like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm. Well,
But-
I mean, it's a musical.
Yeah, I know,
you
but
take his liberties. I don't
I've-
really mind about that.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, from a visual standpoint, I was like, I'm having the time of my life. But I felt like it was just too long.
It was really long.
For something that
That
has
might be the biggest criticism.
yeah,
Yeah,
like no
like-
plot, 2.5
Had
hours.
it
is
been like
what?
an hour shorter, I think I probably would have enjoyed the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just all filler though, wasn't it? It was just
Yeah.
like someone would like touch a tree and then they'd be like, "This is a song about a tree," and it would just like go into a
And
dance
it'll be
number.
like a 10-minute song as well.
Yeah.
Or at least it'll feel that long. Every song in this, for some reason, is so long. And like maybe it's not because they're singing, maybe it's because they're like tap dancing or doing something else. But it feels really repetitive.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to latch onto. I don't know. You got, like, the story that's being told, it is loose, but when it's actually engaged with the story that it wants to tell, the story is, okay, A, it's boring, B, is it, by today's standards, it's very offensive. There's so much in here that just grinds my gears. So much, like, just rampant misogyny and just shit like that. I just can't get on board with it. All the jabs that they take at women. There's a whole song dedicated to like
Femininity, my
femininity and
sweetie.
why women are property. It's really fucking
Yeah.
annoying.
There's a line I quoted that said, "Free cheers for femininity, God bless femininity."
Yeah.
I just found it really like it was like a different level of cringe for me because as the token female here, it was it was just so cringe just to sit there and think you men once upon a time were that fucking weird. Like, I just felt bad for
Once
you
upon
guys.
a
I
time,
felt bad.
eh?
I mean, I know it's better now, but you know what I mean. Like there was like a level of like that was very acceptable, and like even when Dolly was singing it, I was like, oh, this is cringe. I can't handle that kind of thing because it was just like an overload of, oh my god, is this all we're worth?
They want-
Shoveling ice. We're
Yeah,
not. We're supposed to be dainty. How are we shoveling ice? We can't even pick up a shovel.
There's wild contradictions in
Yeah,
the same line of a song.
It's so ridiculous.
Well, they're dainty and fragile, and they need to do all the work. They need to shovel the snow and take out the trash and all these, like, even stuff that you would think like a man would stereotypically have as
Yeah.
a job.
That's
They're
what
like,
I didn't
They will
understand.
do that as
Yeah.
well.
That's what I didn't understand about that was that they were singing things like, oh, like they'll clean and they'll cook, and I was like, yeah, whatever, fine. And then they were like, and they'll shovel ice and they'll like make like things, and I'm like, how do we
Yeah.
get to do that?
When we're in that musical sequence, I was like, oh, okay, this is like probably meant to be like a parody. Like, this isn't going to be like this, like these gender roles aren't going to be like a big part of the film, and later they're going to subvert this kind of expectations you get from this song, but they don't. It feels very genuine looking back.
They
'Cause
bring
it's-
the song back at the
Yeah.
end. They're like, nobody's learned anything. This guy, Van der Gelder, who owns this shop, he's singing this song about how a woman should be, like, basically property. And then, like, he doesn't learn anything. And you're like, wow, I hope his love interest is supposedly Dolly. You're like, wow, she's so, like, headstrong. And,
Yeah,
like,
that's right. She's
this,
like the opposite
like,
of what this song
independent
goes.
woman. You'd think like she'd slap some sense into him and that would be his
Yeah.
arc, but nah, not really. She falls in love with him. We don't know why she falls in love with him. She just does. She's like, I think I'll marry Horace Van der Gelder. I think I'll do that.
Horace.
Yeah,
I
She,
think
like-
I'm in love with him.
there's like a song towards the end when she says that she can like fix him, but like that doesn't.
She doesn't.
Do you know
That
what?
doesn't happen.
I think the final straw for her should have been when she was wearing that like really nice gold dress, and he goes, "Have you got the figure to wear that dress?" And I was like, "Shut the fuck up, Horace. Your name's Horace. You
Yeah.
goober."
You
How can you say that and still be like, "Oh, I'm gonna marry Horace. He just called me fat. I
He has a
love
whole
him."
song about how she wants to marry him, and it's like,
Like, what the fuck?
I understand where this movie's going. I just don't like where it's going. It's like,
No, I
you
don't.
understand. You know they're going to get married at the end. It's like, yeah, they probably will.
Yeah, but I don't like that because I don't understand what makes him attractive to her.
He's
Like-
a man. He owns a business. He's white.
He's one of the leads of the movie. She's
Yeah.
in.
But I know, but there are so many people in this movie, and she's like basically like giving little flirts to all of them. And I'm like, why don't you just get with one of them? Like, none of them would call you fat.
Maybe it's because he's like the only character in this movie that has any like semblance of a personality.
What personality? You're telling me Horace has sorry, if anyone's called Horace, which they're not.
He has
like,
personality. Yeah, he's a bit of a cunt.
I don't agree as a personality. I think he's an
guy
arsehole.
who hates everything. And he's
he's so attractive.
He's a capitalist businessman.
He's
That's basically it.
He's capitalist,
It's
and
still
I love
a personality.
him.
It's better than everyone else in the movie. Basically,
can't be
just
fat,
like
yeah.
cardboard cutouts.
Well, to be fair, that what was his name? Cornelius was one of the most annoying
Cornelius
characters.
Hackle. Yeah.
Cornelius
Ever.
and Barnaby, they're both super, super obnoxious.
Do you know
and I don't like
do you know
either
what
of them.
Barnaby I didn't really have too much of a problem with because he wasn't really like all there.
He wasn't
but that
there.
Cornelius, man, like, and he's that song where he's like dancing and he's all like, and it gets really loud
Yeah.
and everyone's like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, where
That's
he
it,
hits a
Barnaby.
bad
I
note.
know what we're going to do. We're going to go to New York, and we're not going back until we've kissed a girl. Like, oh, cool.
Grow up.
You'll have a time with that.
Sorry, I'm actually 28 and 3/4. No, you're not.
Who says that? 28 and 3/4.
And he
It's like,
says
why would you
that-
say that?
He says that like every 5 minutes as well. Like, we know how old you are. Why'd you have to keep repeating
What are you,
it?
6
It's
years old?
like so weird. And then every time
Yeah.
he like sees like a girl, he's like,
Well, yeah, they walk into that woman's shop. What's her name?
oh shit, what's that? Begins with an I, isn't it? Malloy.
Miss
Yeah.
Malloy. Her hat shop, and like nobody can talk to each other in this movie. They see a woman fucking making weird fucking noises.
Yeah, they
and
start panicking. Yeah.
You could hear them breathing when they fucking see a woman. It's like, how have you survived? And then like, there's like, they do the same kind of thing, really. And like, they can't speak straight when like they're near each other. I don't understand. I don't understand what they're trying to do with this. Like, well, is that like part of the charm? Or is it just because it's a musical you have to be over the top with it? I don't know.
And they're like, the two guys are like trying to hide from Horace in his hat shop. And I was like, the whole time I was thinking, but what's the problem with them being in New York? What are the consequences of him seeing these guys in this city?
Because they're not supposed to be in New York. They're supposed to be at the shop working, even though like he's not there.
Yeah.
Like what's there to run? I guess they were supposed to be running the shop. I don't know. But it's like, yeah, who cares? Honestly, it was just like a really long sequence. I felt like we were in that hat shop for ages.
Yeah.
And they do that with like so many of these different sets, you know, and all these set pieces. You feel like you're in them for an eternity. That whole like the place they're at, like the ballroom, and we're having dinner. That was just felt so long. It felt like a whole hour dedicated to them being in a restaurant.
Yeah, I swear it is actually like an hour of the movie.
It's insane.
Yeah, that's honestly my biggest problem with the movie is that everything could have been cut down. Every single sequence I feel like in this film could have been shorter and the film would have been a lot better. Like, it would still have the problems, like the story problems, but in terms of enjoyment, I would have been able to look past that a bit more because I would have actually like maybe have had a good time.
Yeah, there was just there was just like some bits that just kind of dragged on a little
especially
bit.
when I don't think anything in terms of like the choreography or blocking is anything like super groundbreaking or new or original.
Especially like,
It's,
so
fun,
many
but-
years after Singing in the Rain came out by
Yeah.
Gene Kelly. Like,
you
that
think you
movie
get
is
it.
like, that's a masterpiece. You want something akin to that. You want to see like, maybe he's improved, but I just didn't get that from this.
I did like the that like sort of weird tap dancing scene or whatever, you know, with the waiters and they're carrying like the big food and then like they drop the food and they have to get like mops to like get out the other food and then like cart something else. It was just so ridiculous. It's just like, okay, I could get on board with that.
A lot of the performances and the songs, like in terms of vocals, are really bad as well. Especially anytime there's like group vocals, that's really atrocious and like hard to listen to. And like Walter Matthau can't sing at all.
Who is that?
It's Horace.
Oh, no, like
He has
when
a
he started singing that
terrible voice.
Dainty Lady song, I just went, fuck me. Because he sounds awful.
I did quite like Barbara Streisand though as
Yeah.
Dolly. She was like the best character. every time she was on screen,
She's very
she had
interesting.
such a presence, and like all the dresses that she wore are really bright and loud. Like she had such a way of like delivering dialogue that was like very musical and rhythmic in a sort of way that was quite. I liked hearing all of that and like seeing her do her thing. But we also have to pay attention to like 5 other characters who are not as interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though she's like the title character, I don't think she's the one who has the most attention put on her,
No,
which is a shame because she's very charming and
She's
she's
an
fun to
interesting
watch.
character.
Like any of the jokes that landed came from her
Mhm.
in the movie. A lot of people complain because they think she's too young for the role, which I can kind of understand because I think the
What?
character's meant to be like a kind of a middle-aged woman who's kind of like her husband's died and she's kind of like
Right.
not really
like I'm done with
knowing what to
marriage
do.
and I'm on my own and I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
like she's 27 and like at the time and she looks quite young.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. There's
Um,
also a few bits where it's quite obvious she's like lip syncing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
because,
I
like,
noticed that as well.
There's bits where she's like moving around a lot and like her mouth movements don't match up to like the power of the notes she's hitting at all.
Yeah, I mean,
But that could be a bit distracting at points.
mhm. Yeah, come on, please. It kind of, it was paced terribly. I don't know, and like every time you get like a bit of respite from her, then like juxtaposes it with the scene that's just like terrible with fucking Cornelius and whatever the fuck. Like, oh, we could take these girls out on a night out, and we have $2 between us. And it's like, okay, we gotta walk there, ladies. You know, all the classy people, they walk. That was actually all right. Like, I didn't mind them like finding an intriguing or interesting way to like just get there without paying. But like that went on for a while, and like after a while, you're like, yeah, I respect the hustle, fellas, but just speed it up a bit. You know?
Yeah. That's just kind of how I felt about everything going
Mhm.
on. It's like I respect this, but it's like going on way too long and it just ruins it. Apparently Barbara Streisand and Walter Matthau hated each other making this movie.
Oh, really?
Kind of
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah, he refused to be around her unless that they were in a scene together. Apparently at one point he was quoted saying that she had no more talent than a butterfly's fart. And
Great.
like that scene at the end where they kiss at their wedding, he actually refused to kiss her. And
Wow.
apparently they had to use like clever angle and long distance camera to make it look like they kiss.
That's insane.
There's also
That's just
Fart.
terrible acting, isn't
there's a
it?
story I've read where he went with Michael Crawford to a nearby racetrack and there was a horse there called Hello, Dolly, and he refused to place a bet on it, but Michael Crawford did and it won, and because of that he refused to speak to him for the rest of the shoot.
What a fucking idiot. What a weirdo.
Yeah, he just sounds like a massive arsehole, to be
Yeah.
honest.
God.
See, an arsehole in film and an arsehole in life.
Who learns nothing?
Life imitates art's way.
Life imitates art, yeah.
Mm.
Who's like sick of like being in the hat shop, who was like, oh, that's it. Now I'm gonna go march in the parade with the only people I can trust. 700 men. Like,
Bit gay.
and still like that guy Cornelius, who's just like most insufferable weirdo going. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you don't. Why does Miss Malloy like him? They know each other for a day. I guess it's like musical rules or like whatever. But
Yeah, they have
like,
that
he's
whole
not charming.
they have that whole song about how they fell in love for just a moment.
Yeah. Oh, just a moment. All it takes is a moment to fall in love. Like, shut up. Shut
Yeah,
up.
that's the other part that's in
Yeah,
Wally,
the
isn't
other
it?
song in Wally.
Yeah. Fucking Wally did us dirty, man.
I know. I was expecting so much more. Thanks, Wally, for ruining my day.
He was like, I'm 28 and 3/4 years old. I've never touched a woman before. And he's like got his hand round Malloy's waist. She's like, you still haven't. That's my corset. Fucking, what are you doing? What are we supposed to like sympathize with these characters? They're so annoying.
Yeah, I don't even know how you meant to feel about that, to be honest.
God. Another point where like Horace did not like, he refused to have an arc almost. It's like it's not even like the movie was like, we're just not going to give him one. He literally refused. He's like, I know I've been a fool, and I probably always will be. Marry me. Okay. That's
like,
great.
yeah,
and then they play the God Bless Femininity song again.
It's so weird. Like, who goes upstairs and then comes down and their arc is finished? Like, he was so hell-bent on, like, not changing, and then 2 seconds later he comes downstairs and he's like, I think I've been wrong. Like,
You're
what?
a lovely woman, Dolly. Please marry me.
Like, what did he do? Just go upstairs and think, actually.
He treats her like absolute shit, and then he leaves, and she's like, I'm gonna marry that man.
It is
Why,
ridiculous.
Dolly? Why?
It's like the writers have no awareness of like what they're actually writing. I don't know. It feels like some kind of weird, twisted fantasy.
Yeah.
You like when Scatman Crothers showed up for like 2 seconds?
Yeah, same with Louis Armstrong.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Louis Armstrong was in it because he like released a version of the Hello Dolly song, which was like a big hit. It was like one of his first number ones in the early
right.
60s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked seeing him, but it's like, what was the point?
Yeah.
His name is Louis, right?
I thought it was
Louis
Louis
Arm-
as
I
well,
guess
but he
it's
said
Lewis.
Lewis.
Yeah,
They
he
said
said
Lewis.
Yeah, maybe it is Lewis then. I always thought it was
Been getting
Louis.
it wrong this entire time. I don't know.
But I swear everyone calls him Louis, so unless he goes by
Yeah.
Louis as a nickname or something.
How it's spelled though. Like,
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, like
L-O-I-S,
Louis, yeah. But he says Lewis, so I'm going to go with the man's word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
He should know his own name, so I'm going to go with that.
I think the film is like, it's quite iconic simply because it's one of the films that is like regarded as being one of the films that like destroyed the big blockbuster musical.
Right.
Because 20th Century Fox wanted to follow up the success of Sound of Music with like these really huge, expensive, large-scale musicals. They did this, Dr. Dolittle and Star. This was the last one that came out, and all of them kind of were really unsuccessful. Not necessarily because people were sick of musicals, although that might have been the case, but apparently film attendance was like quite down at that point, just generally.
Mhm.
Even though this film was like a success at the box office, it lost a lot of money because of how expensive it was. Apparently, it was
God,
like
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
it's like the third highest grossing movie of the year, but it still lost a lot of money and kind of stopped them making musicals.
Well,
Fair enough.
when the best musical ever has already come out, what can you do, really?
Yeah, at the time it was like the most expensive musical. Adjusted for inflation, like today it would cost $196 million.
Fucked up.
Nice.
To think High School Musical did the same thing better with a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
Fucking- What do you know?
Yeah, it's almost like you don't need millions and millions of dollars to make a good movie.
You just need a vision. You just need heart to make a good movie. Just need good songs, you know, people who know what they're doing, and like a story. Just a good story, you know. I wouldn't even have minded that much if the story was just fine. It's just like it didn't take so many fucking jabs at women for no reason. It's an annoying one to like have to get through. I have to struggle through, especially today in this day and age. I think you watch a lot of movies from like the 60s and like, or even like the 80s and like before that. It's like you stumble upon some pretty weird and problematic like themes, and the way they treat people or like different groups of people. You take it as like a sign of the times. You do have to take that into consideration when you're watching these movies. But here it just felt like unnecessarily malicious.
Yeah, this film has aged really badly. It's incredibly dated.
Don't know what you mean. Yeah. Not one for the books.
Just wanted Dolly to be all right. It was like a tragic character. She was just like really lonely.
Yeah.
Like a point where she said, I haven't experienced like one extreme of any emotion since like my husband died. Like, fucking damn. They could have done something with that, I feel. But they
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, that was actually interesting.
Oh well. We get off this.
Yeah,
sure.
What should we rate it out of?
Darcy?
Cornelius's.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't really enjoy this movie. There's a lot I respect about it, and I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever seen, but I wouldn't watch it again pretty much almost entirely because of how long it is. It's just too much. I give it like 5 Corneliuses out of 10.
I would also give it 5 Corneliuses out of 10. It's just very annoying, very grating to have to get through. And the technical prowess is there, but it's not backed up by a strong story or characters you really care about. Or even like the characters you do care about, it's just like they're wading through a swamp of shit. I had to force you to pay attention. I don't know. It was very frustrating.
Yeah, I think I would agree that it's quite a frustrating movie, but I was kind of vibing with it for a while. So I mean, I didn't necessarily hate it. I mean, it's no Singing in the Rain, but
What is?
You know,
Sure.
yeah, nothing
well,
is.
You would think this, if anything, because it's also directed by Gene Kelly.
Yeah, so I'm actually gonna sound like one of those like parents that's like, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed, because I was expecting a lot more from Eugene Kelly. But all in all, I'll give it 6 Cornelius out of 10.
Yeah, I would like to check out some of the other musicals he directed.
Yeah, sure.
He did a couple others with Stanley Donen, who also co-directed Singing in the Rain, so I definitely want to see what they're like.
Yeah. I think that'd be good.
I would like to check out more from him, yeah.
If it's not on the marathon list already, maybe we should shove that on there.
Yeah, maybe. Cool. That's the 60s, one and done. Never talk about another 60s movies again. They all suck. Next week, we've got another one to do. Who would have guessed it? For episode 79, we're going to spin the wheel of mayhem, and it'll tell us what we're going to watch next week.
I'm so
The wheel of mayhem!
I don't like it.
What's it going to pick?
It's come up with the Left Behind movies.
What is that?
They're
What
like,
is
Is that the one with Nick Cage?
yeah, he did like a remake of it. It's like religious propaganda shit.
Oh my god, yes.
Cool. Left Behind.
Oh, I know the one. I thought that was only one film. Was
no,
there like
there's
a whole
series of it, and then Nick Cage did a reboot. I'm pretty sure they're on Prime.
Yeah, I've only heard of
Wait,
Left
how many
Behind.
movies is this?
There's multiples, but we just do the first. I don't know, there's 3.
Okay, we'll do the first 3 of 3.
Oh yeah, I thought there was only one Left Behind film.
Yeah, no, there's well technically 4 because there's Nick Cage one, but there's 3 from the original guy. They're all on
really?
Prime.
So we're not going to watch the Nick Cage one?
Is it a reboot? Is it like a you know what I mean, like remake? You know what I mean? Is it completely different? Is it the same film?
I think it's like the same thing again. It's
I
just
know it's
Nick
like
Cage.
Rapture type stuff.
Yeah. Because I only thought there was one Left Behind film because
Mhm.
I've heard of that film.
If we're going to
because
do it, I want to watch the one with Nick Cage.
I mean, I would like to
So,
watch the one with Nick Cage, but if it's exactly the
mind.
same film, I don't know if I want to watch it again.
Yeah, the plot's the exact same, so I imagine it's probably the same thing, but on a higher budget.
Oh,
I think they're
no.
meant to be like really low budget.
Right, well, I guess we'll see.
Okay, yeah.
See how we feel on
yeah.
the day. We're doing the marathon like next week, I think, so
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. Left Behind, episode 79, 3, maybe 4 movies? Who knows? You'll find out. We got social media. YouTube, The Sunday Movie Marathon. Twitter, @SundayMoviePod. Facebook, @SundayMovieMarathon. And Letterboxd, @SundayMM, capital S, capital MM. I really feel like a robot every time I do that. It's like
I think you need to get a button that just does it
Burned
for
into
you
my
every time.
skull now. You ever like rituals as a kid where like you would just say different things, like before bed I had like a thing that I would like say to my mum before I went to bed, and like it
Right.
just got longer and longer. This string of words just got longer and longer as like some kind of like witchy ritual so that I would not have bad dreams,
Like an
and my mother would
affirmation
know
that you
that I
have to
loved
say every
her.
night.
That's
Max
what this
goes to-
feels like now.
Max actually goes to bed and recites the social media
Yeah.
for the podcast before he
Get
goes
more
to
social
bed.
media for the podcast. We'll get Twitter, we'll get Snapchat, we'll get I don't know,
We'll get
Vimeo,
TikTok one day. Yeah.
TikTok. Yeah, we'll get all these things, and I'll just put them all in a strip, and I'll name all the ats, just different ats.
Yeah.
So I can read them all out in this weird mishmash of sounds and noises.
Yeah.
Cool. Any last words?
No.
Sunday Movie Marathon forever!
Woo.
Thank